Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alumni Talks. My name is Zornica, and I'll be the moderator of today's session on behalf of the school selection platform Untitled. In today's webinar, you'll learn more about the full-time MBA program at the Lancaster University Management School. I'd like to thank you all for joining us and to welcome our panelists today, Dr. Remke, MBA Program Director, Pete Cornwall, Recruitment and Conversion Officer, and two of the program's alumni, Daniel Obase and Sergio Andreoli. We'll start with an overview of the Lancaster MBA and what makes it stand out. Then we'll continue with a panel discussion in which Sergio and Daniel will share more about their academic journey and how it contributed to their personal and professional development. Your questions are more than welcome. So if you have any, type them down in the Q&A section or the chat box anytime during the webinar, and we'll take the time to address them at the end of it. So thank you all for being here. And I'd now like to give the word to Robin to present the Lancaster MBA.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and welcome to you all. My name is Robin Remke. I'm the program director and I work with an amazing team of people to make sure that the MBA runs smoothly and delivers the program as promised. And I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what our program is about before we turn it over to our fantastic alumni, who I have to say, I'm just smiling, kind of grinning here at the opportunity to reconnect with Sergio and Daniel. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been too long since we've caught up, so I'm looking forward to our discussion today. So if you'll give me a moment just to share my screen, I have a short presentation. And in this presentation, there we go. And Pete, I'm going to rely on you to make sure that that looks good. Brilliant. Okay.
Looks great, Robin.
So while I'm doing this, this is truly a team effort here because Pete's sort of running this in the background and he's going to be putting in kind of links and things like that in the chat and watching the chat because a lot of information is going to come at you in the next sort of 10 minutes or so. Don't panic. All of this is on our website and we can easily send you links for more information. I just want to use this as an opportunity to give you a bit of a taste of what our program is like. And then Daniel and Sergio can tell you what it's like from a student perspective. So Pete, thanks for joining me on this. And we'll go ahead and get started if that's okay. This is our picture. Daniel, this should look quite familiar. This is when we were in London not too long ago. I am so proud of our MBA program. And let me just begin by saying that MBA programs have a lot of similarity. And we need to, because we are accredited by programs like EMBA and EQUIS, the Small Business Charter. And they really make sure that we are delivering a quality program that hits certain expected measures, things that every MBA should know. So if you look at MBA programs across the spectrum, they will all have similar kinds of elements. But then beyond that, MBA programs have the opportunity to really sort of specify and kind of make the program unique in certain aspects. And that's what I want to focus on today. So what makes our alums MBA a little bit different? And I say this with all seriousness, there are a lot of really good MBA programs out there. And so your job as an MBA applicant is to figure out which program is the best fit for you, which one's the best match for you. And we're really happy to help you in that decision-making process. So this is a group, we're here in London, and this was one of the days where we met with a number of different consultancy companies and talked about their projects and their work and the sort of wide range of opportunities that sit within that larger consultancy type of work. Because we know a lot of MBA students like to go into consultancy, but even within that genre, there are a lot of opportunities and lots of options that you need to sort of sort through. So Daniel, I don't know if you remember that day all that well, but that's that you're there in the back, I see, with a nice big smile. So good, it was a good memory. Okay, so our program, as I mentioned, it is quadruple accredited, which means we have a lot of different important organizations taking a look at our program, making sure that we're delivering a high quality program for our students. We're also ranked and accredited throughout a number of other organizations such as the Financial Times and the Economist. As you can see here, we're 9th in the UK, 25th in Europe, and 96th in the world as of this year. What really stands out is that we're 2nd in the world for corporate strategy and 8th in the world for value for money. That corporate strategy award we're enormously proud of that, because we've either been number 1 or number 2, I think 7 times in the past 10 years, which really tells me we're doing something right when it comes to teaching students about corporate strategy. You can also see that we really have a strong point and focus on corporate social responsibility issues, or ESGs, as you might be more familiar with them. I'll talk about in a minute, but those principles really run through our entire program and sort of serve as the foundation for how we approach all of the topics that we study. So those program principles I just mentioned, responsibility, sustainability, and inclusivity, those principles run through the entire curriculum. You won't have a specific module on responsibility and then another one on sustainability and then another one on inclusivity. We believe that these are fundamental principles that all leaders need to have when running an organization. So we built this into all of the curriculum. So believe it or not, you'll take a module on accounting and you'll focus on sustainable accounting practices, which I confess, I don't have a financial background. And so it was a sort of an eye-opener for me when I first started learning about that. And now it makes complete sense. But it's a way of understanding how we can think about organizations from both a responsibility, sustainability, and inclusive perspective. It establishes a framework or a lens by which you approach all of your decision making. One other element that makes our program slightly unique is that we engage with our students in a pedagogical format that's practice-based. Sometimes you've heard it as experiential learning, or sometimes it's called action learning. The idea is that you learn best when you actually get to do something with what it is that you're learning. So we incorporate a number of different opportunities for you to test out what you learn. It could be a class debate or a role-playing opportunity, a case that you're working on, all the way up to actually working with live clients who have real problems that we ask you to solve. All of that sort of gives you the opportunity to take those theories that you learn about in your modules and that you read about in your textbooks and put them to use so that you get comfortable with them. You know how those ideas work in actual real organizations, and you can actually sort of take ownership of those ideas. That principle of practice-based learning runs through our entire curriculum. And our curriculum is quite vast. We fall into the category of what you might call a generalist curriculum. That means we don't specialize in one particular industry or one particular area. We give you every kind of bit of opportunity to think about your experience as a leader in a wide variety of organizations and industries. And to do that, you'll take a range of modules, including modules in finance, strategic management, corporate strategy, digital innovation and business, organizational behavior, all of the typical kinds of modules that you would expect in an MBA program. Beyond that, though, particularly when we're not locked down in a pandemic, we do a lot of travel. We take trips to a number of organizations and tour these organizations. We go to London several times during the year. We go to the Lake District a few times. We try to get out of our classroom and really, again, sort of experience organizational life as much as possible. Speaking of travel, each year we take one international trip. This year we'll be going to Prague. We'll spend 8 days in Prague, where we'll meet with political and business leaders. We will actually tour companies. And this is a picture of us in Prague last year, visiting a distillery where they were making beer. And so if you look carefully, those are actual crates that bottles of beer are going to go into before they sell that. And if you know anything about the Czech Republic, you know beer is a very, very important element of Czech culture. So it's fascinating to see them making this. You can see we get right up in there. And so it's just another great opportunity to learn about economics in culture and understand that relationship between economics and economies and culture. And finally, this is really where that practice element comes in. You'll engage in 4 different challenges. Now, these challenges are modules, but they're all about that practice-based learning. So essentially, you're given a problem or a challenge that you have to complete in that module. One of them is a simulation game where you compete with each other to accomplish a mission by the end of your time. And then you work all the way up through consultancy and corporate challenges where, again, you'll work with a client to actually engage in some sort of consultancy project where you work with them, solve a problem, or sort of enhance an element of their organization. All of that is done in 12 months. So it's a busy and intense but incredible year. So here's an example of our core modules. As I mentioned, organizational behavior, marketing, finance, business economics. You can see, looking at this list, we give you every tool that you're going to need to be a leader in an organization. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be an expert. So if you don't have a background in finance and accounting, that's okay. What we expect is that in this module, you'll learn enough to know the importance and the significance of finance and accounting in an organization. And you'll be able to have intelligent conversations with the experts in your organization who manage the finance and accounting. Okay, so it's essentially giving you every tool and the big picture that will enable you to lead an organization or a company. And these are those challenges that I mentioned. This is the entrepreneurial challenge where you'll work in a group where you basically come up with an idea. You'll work with an entrepreneur mentor to develop it, and eventually you'll pitch it to venture capitalists. Now, every bit of that's real except the winning money. We don't actually get to play with real money, but we do have a bit of a competition. And the venture capitalists that come in and give the feedback are absolutely real. And I'm very pleased to say that we've had a few who have actually sort of worked out arrangements outside of the class and sort of given some advice and helped those of our alumni who were interested in starting companies to do that. So it's a wonderful way to kind of compete a little bit with your classmates, as well as really understand what the entrepreneurship process is from sort of idea creation all the way to when you're standing there in front of a panel with some money and pitching your idea. It's an incredible process. Same thing with our consultancy. And here we have our students. We're actually touring the Coca-Cola company, which was very exciting. You do have to dress a little oddly, though, to get in for health and safety reasons, but it was fascinating to see. And so we work with companies like Coca-Cola for both our consultancy and our capstone challenge. And here we have students who are working with Barclays Bank. And we work with them very closely to sort of address and deal with any type of particular problem or challenge that they're facing. The clients range from SMEs all the way up to large multinational companies. And we work with students to try to position them and put them into groups that sort of meet the interest that they have in terms of their long-term career development. And speaking of career development, we're ranked as one of the very best when it comes to career development and help. You have an entire team of dedicated professionals there to help you determine what it is that you want to do after your MBA. We have no set plans. We have no interest in funneling our students into one particular type of industry, the finance industry or the STEM industry. Part of our job is to help you think critically about your own interests, your passions, your skills, your strengths, and then determine the career path that works best for you. And we have a wide team of individuals who are able to support you and bring their expertise to that search. And as part of that, we reach out to our international community. We have a large number of international students who come to study with us. And that therefore then means we have a large group of alumni. We have alumni in over 99 different countries. And we work very hard to stay connected with them and to sort of enhance that and to sort of learn from each other. We have regular alumni talks. And one of the nice things that is that as an MBA alumna or alumnus, you have lifelong access to our learning opportunities as well as our career services. That's always been the case, but it really became important during this pandemic when some of our alumni who were in the tourism and sort of hospitality industries all of a sudden found themselves being made redundant, sometimes after 10, 15, 20 years of experience. And the really exciting thing was they were able to reach out to our careers team, and they went into action and helped them either reframe their experience or relocate or find ways to find the career path that made sense for them, even in the midst of a pandemic. Right. So we really, we value our international outlook. We make the most of it. We ask students to really draw on their international expertise and to learn from each other's perspectives. And then we continue that as our students become graduates and then become alumni. That's our program in a quick, I think, 12 minutes. If you feel like you've been overwhelmed, fair enough. That's a lot of information coming at you very quickly. As I said, Pete and I are here to answer any questions you have. All of this can be found on our website as well. And we have a lovely brochure that we'll be happy to send you, or you can download from our website. But I think for now, I'm going to turn it back over now to our panel so that we can answer any questions that you have. Pete, I think over to you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We've got a few questions coming in on the questions tab. And again, guys, while we're answering these, if you have any questions, please drop them into the Q&A tab that you can see at the bottom of your screen, and we'll do our best to answer them. And we've also got a few things that we'll talk to Daniel and Sergio about to share their experience of their time at Lancaster as well. It's probably important at this point that we say that Daniel and Robin and I may refer to Lancaster University Management School as alums. You'll find that we shorten things. And even if now, within the first day or two of arriving at LUMS, you will start to shorten it pretty quickly like we all do. So yeah, if we refer to LUMS, that's why. Daniel's smiling. I can see he clearly did exactly that. We did probably about lunchtime on day one. That's what everyone refers to it as. So just to put that little note in that we're there. There's a really good question coming in asking Daniel and Sergio, how has the pandemic affected your overall MBA experience and your career prospects? And what were the unexpected lessons that you learned?
And maybe before you answer, if you could just give us a quick introduction before you provide your answer, that would be great.
Okay, I can start first. Hello, everyone. My name is Sergio Andreoli. I'm from Brazil. I decided to pursue my MBA at Lancaster because I had to improve and boost my leadership capabilities, and then it was an amazing moment for me when I decided to choose Lancaster, because I had a huge experience, a lot of information that you receive in a very, very fast, that you don't have dimension how many information that you have and you learn from Lancaster. And now, after 2 years it's a completely different style that when I manage my team, when I lead my team. So I'm talking here from Rio. I don't know if everyone know about the city, but I'm currently working a company that manages a lot of tourist attractions here in Rio, and one of the most iconic is Sugarloaf Cableway. That is one of the most important attraction here in Brazil. If you see pictures from Brazil, probably you see our two mountains that are connected from the beach to the most beautiful view when you see Rio, it's probably from here. So that is my introduction.
Hello everyone. My name is Daniel Obase. I'm from Nigeria, and I graduated from my MBA in 2020. So you can say I'm the pandemic baby, really.
Yeah. So, I'm not affected by the pandemic. I am very lucky compared to you.
So with regards to the question that was asked, I would say the MBA was quite helpful for me. I mean, I think it provided the opportunity for agility, if that makes sense, because we started our MBA having a normal classroom experience, face-to-face, and interacting with students. But I think it was in March 2020, I believe that we had to transition to kind of a remote study. So we moved online, our classes were held online. It was different. It wasn't what I anticipated. And unfortunately, we were supposed to travel to Prague, I think a couple of weeks before the lockdown. So that never really happened. But I must say that with the pace at which things changed and how, I guess, the MBA responded and how, of course, we are carried along during that response, it kind of taught us, that ability to be flexible and agile in how we respond, I guess, to life challenges. And funny enough, I think that experience of having to work and learn remotely is what has helped me in my current job and in my current role. You wouldn't believe it. The company I currently work with, I joined them in February, and I've never really met anybody in person up to date. I keep working remotely. I've managed teams remotely. I've managed projects and executed projects remotely. And I think it all boils down to the skill set that we acquired during the MBA program. So if you've asked if it has affected my career prospect, I would say it hadn't. It never did. It was quite challenging, but in terms of career prospects, it never really did. Instead, I think it kind of opened me up to acquire more skills, to be agile, to learn to respond, and also to learn to anticipate. So yeah, I think that would be how I would respond to that, if that makes sense. Thank you.
And I can tell you when we went to lockdown, initially we had hoped it would be a short lockdown. Never did we anticipate, 18 months of pandemic. But obviously one of our very first concerns was what will this mean for our students' learning ability? And what will this mean in terms of long-term career? And Daniel, I can say, having talked to members of your cohort, I think your experience is quite familiar and compared to what other students have experienced as well. And I'm pleased to see that actually being able to sort of learn online and sort of develop those digital literacy skills so quickly, almost sort of overnight, seems to have really helped in terms of your career progression. So I'm pleased that you were able to make that transition so well and it's worked out for you.
Excellent. It's important to say as well, isn't it, Robin, that as of October, our current class are back on campus in person, and we've welcomed them into our brand new management school building that we've got, which is the picture you can see behind me here. So yes, we are back on campus again now. Exactly.
And we are very excited to be back on campus, and we're very hopeful that we can make it throughout the whole year on campus. Because as you mentioned, Daniel, you didn't get to go to Prague. The Czech Republic government shut the border, I think, a week before we were supposed to depart, which was heartbreaking. But we're hoping that things will turn around in the coming months. So fingers crossed, yes. But we are back face to face, and it's a much, much happier kind of scenario for sure.
Excellent. Great. So I'll move on to another question. We've got a couple more that are in there. So I'll come on to one from Sarah. And Sarah would like Daniel and Sergio to tell us all a bit more about the consultancy projects and the challenges. So we can get a real understanding of what that looks like and what that was like from a student perspective. So if we start with Sergio first of all, and then we'll come to you, Daniel.
Okay. It's a quite interesting how the challenge works, because you are splitting different groups with people with different capabilities. For example, my main experience, I'm from finance, and I complement the team with people from operations, people from marketing, sales, and so on. And for example, for the first challenge is like a competition, because you try to win a competition with other groups, the company that provide the better strategy, the better results, and then you don't have a lot of time from this challenge. For example, what is exactly the name is the business. The first one is the business challenge, right? Then when you have the other two challenges, that's more interesting because you have the real flavor from a small company that usually have a huge challenge. Because, for example, my company that I work in a project specifically with the company don't have a lot of, there is a engineering company and don't have a lot of engineers in UK, for example, and they have a huge challenge to hire new employees, and most of the employees now, he lost the employees to other industries that is, for example, the energy industries because of the wind turbines. That is it's a very the market is completely different. So you have a real flavor from a real problem in this challenge. And then the last challenge was the best one for me because you work in a huge company. I work in the RPS, in the treasure group, in a project that is a huge challenge for the company. And we had the opportunity to present the head of treasure from RBS, and then we suggest a lot of potential alternatives to solve the problem that they had. And it was amazing because I work with teams from different skills, different background, different culture. Is a really important how to navigate with people that is a completely different background. In my case, one of the oldest guys in my group. I had one that is oldest than me, but and usually people say, "Oh, you're the guy that have a huge experience," but the most important thing that is a completely different business environment here in Brazil compared to UK. So you have to understand the completely difference, and it's a fantastic way when you understand how the market and the business environment works in the UK, especially. So it's an amazing opportunity to that, and you have a huge challenge to work with people with different culture. I learned a lot about that, and you have in the end of each challenge you have to reflect about your performance, about your behavior, how the people work together, and you provide feedback to each one, and then they provide feedback to you. So it's a completely different perspective in some case. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm doing well, but when you receive a feedback, you sometimes you shock it. But it's a really good to when you have a feedback and you learn a lot. You can learn a lot about different skills, especially for leadership and understand the business environment in UK. For me, it was an amazing experience. Thanks.
Thank you, Sergio. And Daniel, do you want to talk about the corporate challenge that you did? I don't know if you can mention too much about the client or about the project, but give us a bit of an idea of the kind of stuff you worked on.
Yeah, so of course there are two. I think two of those are practice-based learnings. We had the consultancy challenge and the corporate challenge. So like again, ours happened during the pandemic, so it was all done remotely, which was quite an interesting experience for me. For the consultancy challenge, my team worked with a company called Fictress PLC, which was in Lancaster area. So it was a good experience. I think for me, what I really benefited from it was having that experience in my CV, because I think before I came for the MBA, my intention was to do a triple jump from the industry I was working in and move into something else. And that was the beauty of, the Lancaster MBA, I think the way the program is designed, because it kind of helps you to begin to build that experience that, in other areas that might help you in your future career. So having that experience and having it on my CV and being a UK company was quite helpful. And of course, the idea of working with people with different capabilities and working in a team, and I guess applying all the learnings from the MBA was quite helpful. And of course, you've got that opportunity to reflect on the program, and on the model, and kind of look at what you can improve upon, what you've done right, and have this feedback, not just from your team members, I guess from the MBA management as well. And then for the corporate challenge, which was I guess the big brother of the two. So it was helpful for me, in terms of my confidence in speaking to the board of a big organization. So I developed that confidence. I kind of felt like it also helped me to build my consultancy skills, how to do the research bit, and how to do, of course, the reporting bit, and how to look at an organization holistically in terms of look at the operating model and look for areas that requires improvement, and of course understanding what the strategic problem of an organization is. So you take all these elements of what you've learned in the MBA and put it to practice. And I think the MBA program works with reputable organizations in terms of this consultancy and corporate challenge. So for a candidate who is looking to do an MBA in Lancaster University, I think it's brilliant. It looks good on your CV. It helps you in terms of looking for jobs. And I found it really helpful. I found it really influential. I guess that experience came quite handy when I was looking for a job. So yeah, I think overall it's something that attracted me to the MBA in the first place, and I never really regretted it. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Can I,
Is there anything you want to
can
add
I,
on that, Robin?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think one of the things that, and both Sergio and Daniel mentioned this, is that you're given a project, and this is a real project. A company is depending on you. They need smart, innovative solutions. And I know that's a lot of pressure, but one of the things that we make sure we do is provide mentors, provide coaches, provide support. Professors are there to help. So students aren't just sort of left out on their own, but at the end of the day, it is their responsibility. So they learn how to navigate and to kind of manage that pressure of needing to be innovative, needing to be creative, as well as getting things done, right? Because at the end of the day, the deadline is the deadline, and companies need real help, real solutions. And so I think that's a wonderful opportunity. And our goal is to give you a real situation, but with support so that you can learn through that. And as part of that, as Sergio mentioned, we do have you then reflect on that so that you are aware of what you're learning and can really then take that forward, so that it's something that you're conscious of, that you're aware of as you progress. Because really that's what the MBA is about: taking these tools and implementing them into organizations and being intentional and being reflective as you do so.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, it is one of the really enjoyable parts of our student experiences in our MBA, that opportunity to get in with a real business and work on a real challenge that they've got. So yeah.
Well, and sorry, one more just quick thing. I have to say, one of my greatest joys is when program partners contact us, or we kind of run into them, and they say, "Gosh, how is so and so? We're so impressed with their work. They helped us so much." I was telling Daniel, I can't say too much, but the project he worked on, we just spoke with them. They were glowing, raving about how brilliant Daniel was with his project, and just they were just literally kind of beaming about how helpful Daniel and his team were. And that just makes me just scream with laughter and shine, just because I'm so happy. Our students, and I know from Daniel's experience, he worked really hard, but I'm hoping you take away some satisfaction because you made a massive difference for a lot of people.
Excellent. We've got a question from Emily, who's asking about some of the unique experiences and expertise of our MBA students and our faculty. So I think some of the unique experiences we've probably covered by talking about the challenges and the work that our students have done. And as Robin had mentioned earlier on about our rankings, and we're very, very proud of our second in the world for corporate strategy. So you can see some expertise there. And I know that Robin actually, her academic department is entrepreneurship and strategy. So it's a subject that's close to Robin's heart as well. So Robin, do you have anything else you'd like to add about our faculty expertise?
Well, and
we'll come back to student experience in a second.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things is as a program, we draw on all 6 departments from the Lancaster Management School alums. And by the way, thank you for mentioning that. You know, it's just become so taken for granted in my world. I forget that not everybody knows what that means. So that was a very helpful reminder. But we draw from all 6 different departments, which means we have experts in a wide range of areas, and they bring in a world of expertise. And what we're trying to do is really further enhance that. So we're partners with the Work Foundation, which is a think tank that it's been around for 100 years. And it's really kind of has the pulse of what work is like in society. So we have Ben Harrison, who is the director of the Work Foundation, partnering with us. We have a project on hybrid work, for example, which is, of course, an issue everybody wants to know more about. He's coming to work with us in January and sharing some ideas around that and helping us to not just understand what is hybrid work, but how to really think about hybrid work differently as we move forward into this kind of quote new normal that I think we're all so tired of hearing about. So the Work Foundation is one of our key partners. We also work with the Pentland Center, which is a research center around sustainability. We have a brand new director and it was wonderful to work with her. We're building projects that allow students to really engage with sustainability on the front lines. Again, so that we move sustainability and inclusivity and responsibility, not from just sort of something you think about when everything's going really well, but something that really drives your business. So how does thinking sustainably actually make your business better? And sustainability is so much bigger than just simply thinking about climate change or global warming. We need to think about sustainable communities, sustainable work practices. And so we partner with these experts. We have a fantastic workshop coming up with the director of the Center for Family Business, because we know a lot of our students are actually coming from family businesses and are hoping to return to them and really enhance their engagement and their opportunities. So we're working with this research center who really is driving some fascinating cutting edge research around what it means to lead a family business, especially in these really turbulent times, right? So we draw on all of these expertise to really enhance the students, not just learning in terms of book knowledge, but actual practice, because of course, our researchers are out there, they're studying businesses, they're working with program partners, they're working with communities and are asking questions about what they see and are drawing on that to really inform their theoretical work. So it's really much it's a fluid sort of collaborative effort amongst all of our departments here in LUMS and the students.
Excellent, thank you, Robin. And if we come on to think about some of the unique experiences beyond the challenges and things you spoke about, Daniel, do you want to share any of your unique experiences of being on campus at Lancaster? And for those of you that don't know, we're a collegiate university, so we have our 4 faculties, which is where all your teaching, your research, your learning goes on. And then wrapping around that, we have 9 colleges. 8 of those are for our undergraduate students, and 1 of those is for our postgrads. Imaginatively named, it's Graduate College, to make it really obvious where you guys would be attached to. And all of our postgraduate students are members of Graduate College, whether you choose to live on campus or in the city. So it gives you a great opportunity to network with everybody from masters through to PhD students across our 4 faculties. So within health and medicine, arts and social science, and within science and technology, to build your global network of experts for when you carry on into industry like these guys have done. So Daniel, do you want to share any of your experiences and some of the unique experiences? I know loads goes on with our MBA classes, so share the ones that might be more acceptable to share on these experiences.
So yes, like this, I'm going to share the ones that are acceptable to share. So anyway, I think for me, unfortunately, I never really lived in campus. So I was off campus, so I think I missed a lot of the actions. But it was a unique experience for me. I think to have that opportunity to mix with people, different cultures, I guess different experiences. Of course, there's that opportunity to learn from people with, you've got people that cut across different industries and different walks of life, and it's just like this basket of amazing people and experiences that you can actually tap from, and that opportunity to network, to build that network. Like, I guess my cohort, we are still in touch, and we kind of check up on each other, and that is amazing, because sometimes you might ask someone for assistance with anything, and they're always there and open to support and help. And I think in terms of the experience within, I guess, within and around the campus, yeah, I think one that stood out for me was the cultural night. Was it cultural night?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all kind of, kind of express and show, our culture in terms of food, dressings, and have this amazing social event that people come to enjoy and celebrate each other. So it was good to have that, a bit of play, despite the workload. We kind of have our time to play and socialize with each other. So I think it's unique, and I think being off campus, I also had the opportunity to experience Lancaster and the environment. So Lancaster is a very serene place. It's beautiful. It's conducive, and that was one of the reasons why I chose Lancaster University. I kind of felt like the environment was conducive for learning. It was cost friendly as well, and the university, I guess, the transport network from the university to, I guess, to most of the residential parts of Lancaster, it was there. The network is there. The transport network is there, and it's quite very affordable, I would say. So it all kind of works out, I guess, positive for me. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, it's important to say our campus is approximately 5 kilometers from the city centre, or if you're British or American, about 3 miles, and a really regular bus service. So I always do the conversion because I'm never sure if people know miles or whichever. So hey, yeah, but a really regular bus service that goes from very, very early in the morning. Probably the best way to describe it is until very, very early the following morning. I think it stops about 2 or 3 hours. So you can always get on and access in things like the library, where you have access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can get to it whenever you need to. And I know Cultural Night is a highlight, and we've recently had a new one that's added into the calendar for this year, which was Diwali, and the fireworks celebrations we have here in the UK coincided at the same time this year. So some of our students that were celebrating Diwali opened up and celebrated with the whole class, and some staff as well, I believe, Robin, as well. So there may have been some staff involved in that too. Yeah,
maybe, so, possibly. I can't report.
No, I know.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
Don't worry, the dean's not on this call, Robin. Sergio, do you have anything you'd like to share about some of the experiences you had while you were on campus at Lancaster?
I had a different experience because I live on campus, and but in a different college, not in the grad college. I lived in a family flat. What is a really good when you have a kids or family and you family with you. It's a different experience. I had both because part of my family spent some time in UK and come back to Rio. But I had the both experience. For families, they have a great infrastructure and great flats that you accommodate your family in a very good space. You have a lot of interaction with other families because they promote a lot of events to connect the families. They have also kid garden in the on campus that is a really good. When you have kids, you are worried when you choose your school, but in Lancaster you have a lot of options around campus, on campus and off campus, and also they have many restaurants, many cafes, and also pubs that you have subsidized prices, and that is quite nice for students, especially for the grad bar. That is probably a lot of people spend some time there and share experience, connections, talk, chat about the whole thing there, and that is quite impressive. And around campus you have a lot of trails that you can explore the city. You can go by foot to the cities. It's an amazing experience. I recommend if you decide to go to Lancaster, that you have so many beautiful part of the cities. They have a nature, and around the campus you have the Lake District that is amazing. You have some time there, but if you go on, if you decide to go there, you have a lot of cities around. It's 1 hour or less than Lancaster that you can have a great experience. You have so many things to do in the weekend, but you don't have a lot of time in the first 6 months. That is, you have a lot of things to do. But after the 6 months, you have more time to explore the city. Yeah. But you have a great infrastructure on campus and off campus. I'm quite surprised how good was the city, and also the city is connected with all by train, all the big cities in the UK. So that is quite amazing.
Yeah. If I can just add to that, one of the things we appreciate that as students who have professional experience, we sometimes classify you as post-experience students. We recognize that many of you are coming with families, or sometimes maybe coming with leaving family behind. And we want to support you with that. So a lot of our activities are very intentionally family friendly, including like Diwali celebration. We have during Welcome Week on our Friday night dinner is a family event where children and partners are welcomed. And because we know that family is important, and they're taking a huge step by coming with you, and so we want to support them as much as we can. That's even included doing things like helping with schools and helping with settling in, and even trying to help some of our partners locate areas to work and finding desk space and things like that. Because we know that it takes a village to get an MBA, and so the people who are supporting you are important to us, and so we want to sort of recognize that, and we're going to continue to sort of build that resource for our families, as well as to support those who have families back home. So I remember last year we celebrated the birth of one of our students who wasn't present at the birth. Mom and baby were back in India, but we celebrated as if they were all here and made sure that that student felt supported and really could kind of celebrate, even though he wasn't able to be there. So that's important to us.
Great, thank you, Robin. Yeah, thank you very much. So we have a question that's come in about IDPs, which I think is displaced persons and religious minorities, asking about, do we have any preference for admissions on that, in terms of do we give anything easier admissions? And I think it's really important to say that we treat all of our applicants equally and fairly, but we do consider applicants from what we would class as being a non-standard route, so people who maybe haven't had the entry requirements on our website, but that do have work experience and other circumstances. And I know Robin has been part of a working group in the university looking at the university being University of Sanctuary status. Is that correct, Robin?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we're a very welcoming community, and we do welcome people from all over the world and take into consideration people's situations as well. So and if you want to have a further conversation about that, I've posted my email address into the chat. Please do drop me an email and we can arrange a one-to-one conversation about that in more detail.
Just to follow up then. So Lancaster is a sanctuary city. And so we are partnering to make sure that Lancaster University is a sanctuary university. And we work very hard. Our chaplaincy is an all-faith chaplaincy. That's a hard word, sorry. And so what that basically means is that we will help provide services for students of any faith. And while we tend to have set services for sort of the more represented faiths, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, others, sorry, it's not Hinduism, Hindi, but we really work hard to make sure that there is a community for all students on campus that is then also connected to larger communities of practice further beyond the campus as well. So we take that very seriously and are working very hard to make sure everybody is included.
So thank you, Robin. Yeah, thank you for that. So another question we've had come in is about how does the programme accommodate and respond to the fast-paced technological developments in different industries? And I think there's possibly, I know Robin's probably going to give us loads of examples, as are Sergio and Daniel, but when we look at some of our guest lecturers that we bring in and guest speakers that we bring in, and particularly James Whitaker, I think if you think about technological developments in a fast-paced world, If you haven't met James Whitaker, I don't know if Daniel and Sergio had the luxury of meeting James and experiencing some of his lectures. I think fast-paced is would be a good way of describing James. But I'll let Robin explain a bit more about who James Whitaker is and why he's great to have on our MBA program.
Oh, well, how to capture James in a few words, it's impossible. He brings a wealth of technological experience, and he's coming actually in about a week and a half. So we're very excited to be hosting again. Daniel, I think for your group, he was online. Is that right? I think by the time he spoke to you, we were in the pandemic. So I think he spoke to you online.
I really remember.
Yeah. I know. Well, and the whole point is that actually we work really hard to bring in a number of different guests. So Richard Harrison was just here. He's a sort of serial entrepreneur and CEO. Richard also spoke to Daniel's group. We bring in with every module, I'd say we bring in 2 or 3 guests. And one of the nice things, if we can be so bold, is to say that there's something positive has come from the pandemic, was that we now are more comfortable connecting virtually. I think before we worked very hard to actually bring guests into the classroom and have them here face to face. And that's still our preference, but what we've discovered is that actually connecting virtually can still be quite positive. And that's meant we've just been able to expand our repertoire. So between alumni and some of our program partners and our program guests, we have a huge resource. And so we bring people in quite frequently to speak to a whole range of issues. So as it was, James Whitaker, his last talk he did give digitally, but he's able to come in about a week and a half and spend some time with the students face to face, which is fantastic. We also partner, we haven't had a chance to even mention this yet, Pete, but we partner with a program called Entrepreneurs in Residence and a similar program called our Leaders in Residence. These are leaders and entrepreneurs who are partnering with the university to essentially volunteer, give their services and experiences to the students. And so we are about to launch with our Entrepreneurs in Residence what we call surgeries, where students come and meet with an entrepreneur and they bring their questions, they bring their ideas, their plans, and they get one-on-one mentoring. We have a big event coming January 10th with our leaders in residence, where they'll get to meet and mingle and establish some mentoring relationships. And again, all of that is just a way to help the students see all of these principles and theories and models put into action, and to get that sort of face-to-face, one-to-one kind of support and encouragement that they need to go forward. And I think both Sergio and Daniel talked about, how the MBA sort of gave them some confidence. It's not just knowing what to do, but actually being bold enough and courageous enough to sometimes make difficult decisions and to take it forward. And I see both Daniel and Sergio really doing that so beautifully. And I think that's one of the things that kind of comes from that MBA experience. Because as both of them will admit, we give very honest feedback, don't we? Sometimes even if it's a bit hard to hear.
Great.
So that's, I think, just, we give you lots of opportunities to interact with experts from a wide range of areas, not just academics, but practitioners as well, who will give you that honest feedback, but constructive feedback, so that you're able to build on that, reflect on it, and think about how you can use that going forward.
Excellent, thank you. I noticed that we're coming up towards the last 5 minutes or so of our allotted time, and we'll try and be as respectful as we can to keep this to time. There's just a couple of questions I'd like to ask and get some input from Daniel and Sergio, if I could. Coming back, our MBA program, we ask for a minimum of 3 years work experience, and the average age for our students on our MBA is in their 30s, really, Robin, isn't it? We have people who are coming back after having successful careers and are looking to develop that and accelerate on. I'll come to you first of all, Daniel. What was it like coming back to study at university, having had that work experience? How was that for you? And what was the support like to help you to do that and to get back into a student mindset, very much from the academic side, maybe not from the partying side?
I think Lancaster University has fantastic resources to support, I guess, I'll call it returning students, because that was how I felt. I was before that, I was working in the oil and gas sector. I've worked for 8 years, and I kind of decided I needed to switch career and did an MBA to do that. I guess that's a traditional route. If you want to move careers, you get an MBA and look for something else to do. And I think it was quite a challenge, because you kind of look at, you look at it from I guess the employer's perspective. What do employers want, and how do you prepare yourself, to be suitable, to offer employers what they're looking for. So it was challenging, going back to class, having to do the classwork. But of course, you've got support from the careers team, and even for things like technical writing, you've got resources, you've got support from the university to help you to get yourself back into, being able to sit down and write a proper technical report, and become out, there's, opportunities for you to learn about things like simple things like even what's it called, plagiarism. Those little things, they kind of help you to get yourself back to becoming a proper and responsible student. But I think, despite all these challenges, I think I would commend the careers team. In my time, there was a lady called Kana and Andy. They were quite supportive. They were quite helpful. I guess they kind of help you to begin to, I guess they help you to prepare yourself to understand what employers want and how you can tell up, I guess, your CV and your presentation and your expectations, to suit. So I wouldn't say it wasn't really that difficult, really, because I believe that I kind of felt like the resources were there, the support was there. Andy was in touch. Andy was always looking at opportunities to help, in terms of career development. So it was challenging, but I guess there were resources to support that. Yeah.
Excellent, great. And Sergio, for your experience then in building on the information there that Daniel's just given us about all the support that's available, can you talk a little bit about your experience of working with our careers team and some of the other support that's available there?
Yeah, they provide a lot of resources. You prepare you to come back to the market in terms of how you. I had a lot of difficulty, to be honest, in the first moment, because I was in a moment in my career that I had some difficulty to still moving up in the organization, because of sometimes I had a lack of good leadership capabilities in some situations, that I decided to pursue an MBA to stop my career and reflect, and Lancaster MBA fits very well for my needs. And when I was there, people from A&D and the whole team, do have a lot of workshops, a lot of sessions that you can discuss, receive feedback from the way you prepare for interviews. You have all for example, my CV, my curriculum was I have to readapt it to the ways. They have a lot of resource to support you in when you return. In my case here was quite important, because I decided to come back to Brazil because of my family, and was quite easy here when I come back. When I use the whole preparation that I received from Lancaster, was easy to find other opportunities and move. And now I'm much better than I was before the MBA in terms of the career progression. So it was quite helpful for me, and I think it's a good asset that Lancaster has, is the career team.
Excellent, thank you so much. And just as a final question, because I realise we're on the top of the hour again, and these always go so fast, and I know that our alumni could probably talk for the rest of the day telling you all about their experiences at Lancaster. But I'll come back to you first of all, Sergio, and give you a bit of thinking time, Daniel, because I realise I think I've come to you first most of the time. For the guys who are watching us today and anybody who's watching this recording in the coming days and weeks, what would be your top tips for them when they're coming to study at Lancaster and why they should come to study at Lancaster?
I can start. I decided, as I said before, I decided to pursue my MBA at Lancaster. Was the program that covered most of the gaps that I had when I mapped in terms of the leadership skills. The parts of the reflection, the way that is the all leadership models was quite, it's a little bit strange for me at the beginning. What is the purpose? Sometimes I question myself and said, oh, but at the end, when you have time to reflect, is really important. I consider more calm, patient, more prepared for a huge challenge. Especially the last year was crazy. This VUCA word is not more anymore. VUCA words. I don't know what has happened in the last 2 years or as a quite challenge, and I was really prepared for this kind of situation. I'm really in terms of the leadership skills, that is was amazing for me, especially, and the program fits very well for me. And also in terms of the corporate strategy for me was really important when I checked, because one of the capabilities that is always important, despite although I work in finance, but it's really important to understand the strategies, the methodology, the way that I can plan the future from the companies. So that is the reason that I decided to pursue my MBA, and Lancaster was for me the right fit for my needs. Thanks.
Thank you, Sergio. Daniel, over to you. What are your top tips or why they should come to apply at Lancaster?
I think I would just follow up on what Sergio has said. Lancaster kind of help you to develop that leadership skills, that management skills. And I found it kind of transformed, how I engage with people and how I guess how I lead a team. And there's this model. I think I never really knew it then, but now I kind of realized its importance, the mindful manager model. I think it kind of changed everything for me. It was a game changer, because when you go out there in the real world, you kind of begin to see that aside, all these other capabilities, I think what really matters is how you engage with people, how you're able to, to deal with the politics of the workplace, if that makes sense. So I think to be a good leader, you really need to understand how to work with people, how to work collaboratively, how to sit down and reflect on experiences and take learnings from those experiences and use that to develop yourself even further. So this is gonna be a bit of a cliche, but I've always had this. This was from the Lancaster MBA. It's like it was from the mindful manager model. I've always had it in front of my computer whenever I'm working. It's funny because I would never really anticipate that would be, but it has been helpful for me on how to conduct myself when I'm working with people. And another aspect of, I guess, what I would say that kind of makes Lancaster stand out, it's where it's located. I think in terms of it's an intensive program, and you need to be in an environment that kind of is conducive, for such a program. And I think Lancaster City itself was, I think for me, it did cut it for me, really, in terms of cost, in terms of being conducive, apart from the traffic, of course. But yeah, but I think I would recommend it as a place to get your MBA. And of course, you've got the consultancy challenge and the corporate challenge, which kind of even adds to your experience. It's good on your CV. I mean, if you're looking to go into consulting, it's something you really need. And I kind of found that experience very helpful, even till today. So, and I would suggest, or I would advise, I don't know, but yeah, if you're looking to run the program here in Lancaster University, I think make most of the network, because you'll come across a lot of people, a lot of opportunities. You'll be able to engage with industry leaders. If you're able to build that network and keep that contact, it might come in handy, in the future. I currently work with Health Education England, which is part of NHS, and I'm a project team lead. The current role I work in, it was somebody that I met in London during one of those networking sessions that kind of helped prepare me, I guess, for the role itself. So before I applied for the role, I did a bit of consulting, with that individual to ask what it's all about, and I was guided, on how I was able to present my application, and that kind of, panned out for me. So I think the network there, the opportunity to network is there. If you can make the most of it, you will not regret it. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. And as we come to the end of our session today, I thank everybody who's taken time to listen to us and to hear from Daniel and Robin and Sergio and myself. Of course, say thank you to Daniel and Sergio for giving up their valuable time during the workday. And that kind of gives you an idea of the passion and the experience they've had and the warmth they feel towards the management school and the MBA program. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Robin, do you have any final words that you'd like to say just to wrap us up today?
Just a huge big thank you to Sergio and to Daniel. Again, it thrills me to see you both. We miss you, and it's so exciting to hear about how well you're doing, and it really kind of just makes me so just happy, just plain old happy to see you. So thank you for your time today. And thank you to Pete for hosting us, and to our hosts as well for making this opportunity a possibility. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great, thanks everyone. And I hope we have learned a lot about the Lancaster MBA, which seems to be a really unique, transformative, practice-oriented learning experience combined with a very supportive, community-oriented and family-friendly environment. So now is the time to make your choice and to go for it. Thank you very much, everyone. Looking to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.